Got some more major changes happening at Xbox as two key members have stepped down. Satya Nadella talks about the Xbox business. There's a quote that's going around everywhere, but is that the only thing he said, or was there more to it? There's a lot of context surrounding that. More games have been revealed here for Xbox Game Pass in 2027. So we kind of get a look as to what we can expect next year. And Playground Games talks about the pros, the cons of delaying Fable. Now, before we do get into it, if you do enjoy daily gaming and Xbox content, make sure to hit the subscribe, share, and like, as I see many of you who do watch on a daily basis are not subscribed, so I would appreciate it. But for now, let's get in. So 2026 is looking like it's going to be one of the best years for Xbox's ecosystem and Xbox Game Pass. And we've already gotten actually a long list for 2027, which is looking like it's shaping up to also be a phenomenal year. We have lots to look forward to, some first party stuff, third party stuff that's already been announced. 10 plus games have already been announced here for Xbox Game Pass in 2027. I always question how they were going to be able to follow up 2026 with all of the stuff that they have coming out. And it looks like they're doing a pretty good job right now with the current slate, if all of these do actually end up coming here in 2027. So here is what we know so far. We have Persona 4 Revival on February 18th, Fable on February 23rd. So you have those within a week of each other. Now, I don't think they fully appeal to the same crowd. Like, some people will be playing Persona 4 and some people will be playing Fable, but obviously Persona 4 has a massive audience already, and Fable, from everything we have seen, looks like it could be a game of the year candidate. That honestly, from that 30-minute deep dive they gave us after the showcase a few days later, blown away as to how Playground Games is going to be able to do this and how they're making such an amazing game here from Fable. So I hope the actual gameplay and the game, when it does come out, lives up to what we've been seeing so far in the videos. We have Bad Magpie, which is early 2027. They showed this off at the showcase. That's like that kind of funny, quirky game where you're a bird and you're lighting things on fire. I feel like that one's going to be a lot of fun. Wolong 2 Wings of Ember in early 2027. That's a big game. People who played the first one will want to go and play that one. Join Us, which is that cult game. I feel like this is going to be a lot of fun, and you're going to see such funny things coming out of it. That's coming March 2027. Clockwork Revolution, spring 2027. Spyro: A Realm Beyond, spring 2027. One of my most anticipated games, as I am a big Spyro fan, and I'm so happy that they're making a brand new one. The Expanse: Osiris Reborn, spring 2027. Alien Deathstorm, 2027. Magicians: The Devil's Deal. Musa: Dirty Fate. Senua. State of Decay 3, Valor Mortis, which did get delayed a little bit here. They came out and they're pushing it further into 2027. And then Vivarium. So that's already 10 plus games. And to me, that lineup alone is extremely exciting. Like, I'm going to be playing Fable, Bad Magpie, Clockwork Revolution, Spyro, Magicians, The Devil's Deal, Senua, State of Decay 3. Like, that's already way more games than I think I'll be able to get through in the year, which is insane. And we're not even through 2026 yet. So Game Pass is shaping up to be so good. I mean, they have absolutely, I would say, delivered on improving the quality and the games that are coming, especially this year and then going into next year, all while reducing the price, even though they've taken Call of Duty out. So Game Pass is shaping up to be very good, and does go against some of the narratives that we are seeing thrown out there, that they're going to get rid of Game Pass, that they're going to get rid of day one. Now, all this could change because, as we know, plans change all the time. But for now, at least till 2028, Game Pass is looking like it's getting better, not getting worse. All right, we have something very interesting here. This popped up, and this looks like this could be more of Xbox trying to entice people to just try out games within the Xbox ecosystem before even buying it or paying for it. So there is something that has appeared here on the back end, and this is from Better xCloud, Red PHX here on X, who does great stuff of finding back end code and giving us a look into what potentially could be coming out here from Xbox. And this is a buy now, play later feature via PayPal and Klarna, whatever that means. I mean, I don't use Klarna. I don't even know what Klarna is, to be honest, but PayPal is something I think more people would know about. But buy now, play later, meaning I guess you're going to actually be able at some point be able to play games without paying for them and then pay for whatever amount later on. It says, buy what you love and play later. Pay later options offer flexibility to break payments up over weeks or months. Pay in 4 interest-free bi-weekly payments or spread payments up to 24 months, and split your purchase into 3 payments once that purchase, and then every 30 days. I mean, it's an interesting thing here. This is one of the main things that Ash Sharma did speak about in her interviews, was just the price of everything going up and Xbox needing to find ways to make it more affordable for people to play games, to get into the hobby and all of that. I think she was mainly talking about hardware, but if this is something they're trying to implement, this would mean they're also looking at it from the games and services side of things, as it could also indicate that game prices will be going up, and they know that everything's going to have to increase in price. So that will cut more people out of the ecosystem and out of people being able to actually play games, at least on day one when they do launch. This would give more options if you can't afford it at the prices. Now, I'm not a big fan of the whole payment plan stuff. I mean, but I'm not going to tell people how to spend their money and how to use their money. I just feel like if you can't afford to pay for it, then you probably shouldn't at that point, because it is video games. But reality is, economically now, it is much tougher for a lot of people to get into it, and maybe this is something they dabble into once or maybe twice a year, so it's not something that is insane, and this will give them the option to play the games if they do want to. We'll see. Maybe this isn't even going to come to fruition, but it is coming in the back end. We've seen them do the all access plan before with Xbox, where you could actually get Game Pass and a console and everything, and then paid over a period of time. So that it kind of falls in line with what they're promoting here, or potentially thinking about here, with the buy now play later feature via PayPal or Klarna. So we'll see if that actually does end up happening. All right, let's talk about some more Fable, and then we'll jump over to some of the quotes and everything that has been happening on Xbox over the last few days, because of course the CEOs and everyone likes to talk. But Fable, they delayed the game to 2027. I think it's a smart delay, especially if you look at the release schedule. It's, I think, in November right now. This may have changed by the time I'm making this video, but in November, I think it's only a Barbie game that is going up against Grand Theft Auto 6. Everybody has crammed their games into September, which I don't think that's actually a very good idea, because there are so many big games. There are going to be games that just fail simply because of when they did end up releasing, and they're all releasing in the same time frame. And that's unfortunate, but they're all being crammed in September, October, like it's all to get away from GTA 6. So Fable has decided, yeah, we don't have a good time frame to release this game, because I figured before they delayed it, it would probably have to be December, which alone I don't think is a great month to release. We saw the effect it had on Indiana Jones, at least in terms of the commercial or the critical recognition, like at the Game Awards and stuff. So they decided they're going to push it to February 2027, which now is also starting to look like it's going to be a month that is completely stacked with games. But I do think it is a good decision. And I think also it helps them polish the game and get it fully ready, so it doesn't release in a bad state. But they've highlighted the pros and cons of delaying to February 2027. They were speaking with Games Radar, and this is what they say. The team has spent this year absolutely gunning for a date, which is, no longer in this year. I think there was initially a little bit of disappointment around that. A team gets really focused on that. And they say, honestly, the thing I love about it now, and the thing I've tried to sell the team on, is going in February, having a much less contested window allows us the opportunity to go out and really make a moment for ourselves. And I think the attention this game deserves. And I agree with that. But if you do kind of look at the lineup for February, it is becoming a pretty stacked month as well. But it won't be as bad as releasing anytime near Grand Theft Auto 6. And I agree, this game needs its own highlight. It needs to be away from some of the bigger massive releases that would overshadow it. And it's because it's a reboot of a big IP, but for people who played it back on the OG Xbox. And it's not going to be a game that is probably that exciting, at least in name, to new gamers or people who didn't play it back on the OG Xbox. How they're going to get excited, of course, is by doing more of those 30-minute gameplay videos where whether you've played the game or not, it's undeniable how good the game does look. And I think they are doing a good job of that and building that hype. So by the time February does roll around, there will be a lot of people, whether they played Fable back on the OG Xbox or not, will be excited to check out and play this game. And I'm sure they'll have a big marketing campaign around it to try to push it out to as many places as possible, because Fable needs that. It needs to get out there. It needs to be marketed. We've heard rumors about cutting marketing budget, and I'm like, what marketing budget right now are they going to cut? I thought they did a great job of marketing Forza Horizon 6. I hope they continue with that with games like Fable and Gears of War E-Day and Halo Campaign Evolved, because you could see it did help. It did help, even though, of course, Forza is a massive game regardless. I do think the marketing helped in a pretty good way. Okay, let's talk about this here. Satya Nadella. It's the quote that's being thrown around the internet non-stop over the last couple of days, and that is him talking about monetizing Xbox going forward, and basically said that Xbox is more monetized on YouTube than it is on Xbox itself, and people have been throwing that out there. Now, right off the bat, if there are creators out there that have been able to monetize Xbox so good that they make more money than Xbox itself, let me know, because that's absolutely not happening in my way. But he put out this statement, and there's a full context of stuff that he does say before actually the quote that has been pulled out and spread like wildfire around the internet. So we'll take a look at it, and I'll let you know what I think. Here, he was doing an interview, and the interviewer says, the CEO of Xbox has released a statement today saying that we should expect a complete reboot of Xbox soon. She said there are massive increases in component prices and that Xbox might need a new business model. I have to ask, what is your strategy with Xbox? And here's what Satya Nadella says. Yes, look, in fact, this is the 25th anniversary of Xbox. I'm very excited about the progress we've made. Gaming at Microsoft predates Windows and Office. The first app we built was Flight Simulator, and we've had a long tradition. Xbox has been with us for 25 years. Now, the challenge for us is to think about how we can innovate in both hardware and games for the future in an economically viable way. One of the things that Asha, who has just taken the reins of Xbox, has mentioned is that we've invested a ton. No one can accuse Microsoft of not investing over the last 25 years. And now we have to turn this into a sustainable business that fundamentally offers one of the best sources of entertainment. I think it's very important here, because you keep seeing people saying that they're going to sell Xbox, they're going to get rid of it. It's done. They invested so much money into this over 25 years. The reality is they're going to keep trying to push this in order to be as successful as possible and to make it more sustainable and more viable than it has ever been. Xbox is making money. They're profitable. They make billions of dollars. They aren't a business here that is just burning through cash nonstop and that they're losing money over and over again. They have up quarters, they have down quarters. But now we have a new Xbox CEO. And what happens when you get a change in regime? That CEO wants to take the business in a certain direction. So all of the messaging and talking about the business is going to be so that people can prepare for whatever is going to come down the line. You saw the same thing happen with Phil Spencer. You saw the same thing happen with Game Pass. Satya Nadella has all these quotes before Asha Sharma became CEO that supports the direction that Phil's team was taking. So now there's going to be a lot of stuff where the corporation is going to try to massage it in a way to take it in the direction that Asha wants to take it. So people get prepared for those changes, negative or positive. The changes are going to be coming, and we'll see how it actually does end up helping Xbox. The other thing here, this is the quote here that everyone is taking and running with, saying, however, the challenge we have is that we haven't monetized that entertainment. If anything, we've been subsidizing that entertainment. And we all know, at least on the hardware side, they subsidize consoles. They have for generations. I think this is the first generation where they've pretty much stopped doing that. That's why the prices are high. And then we saw from the Windows Central report that certain parts of Xbox subsidize other parts of Xbox. And I think that is pretty normal across most businesses that have many different silos of things that are going on. You're going to have more successful parts that are going to help the less successful parts. Game Pass was successful, and it was helping failures in Xbox Game Studios games that didn't sell enough. It was helping keeping those games to be made. And I feel like he is referring to that in a way that they need to make more money across the board. He says, in fact, there's more monetization in Xbox games on YouTube than at Microsoft itself. And I feel like that's a reference to people playing their games and then obviously making the money off of playing those games. I also think it's a reference because this is important to me, and I think it's important overall. Asha Sharma recently talked about the pricing. It's becoming too expensive, finding more ways to make money. Matthew Ball talked about this with his recent interview with Christopher Dring about the whole ads and everything. Clearly, and this is, I don't think is an Xbox thing only, these companies are just diving in and trying to figure out how can they monetize the current base of users more so than they are, because the cost of developing these games are going up and the length of developing these games is getting longer and longer. So we are going to see more monetization. We saw this happen about 10 years ago, if you do remember, with the loot boxes, non-stop loot boxes, the whole pushback against the Battlefront game. They're trying to figure out ways back then to monetize more. They're going to continue to do that, whether that means ads in games, not like ads that take you out of the experience, but just as you're playing a game. Like Death Stranding 2 is probably the best example of that. I think you'll see a lot more of that stuff. You're seeing the ways to try to reach more consumers that may not be able to afford the rising prices, as we just talked about with the buy now, pay later that could be coming out. So I think that's what he's referring to more so than anything, is finding other ways to give less for free. Because reality is, Microsoft has been, I would say, over the last number of years, very, very consumer friendly. And unfortunately, their business, and they're going to be doing more things here to try to make more money. We'll see exactly what it is I would say in the next 100 days. But the big part that nobody talked about was, of course, everything before that, where he's talking about how much they've invested and that they have no interest of basically moving away from Xbox, as they're trying to make it one of the best sources of entertainment. He says this doesn't mean we're going to do things that aren't natural, and that's another point, a big point here. We want to do our job, which is to create great games, great hardware, and we have to do it in a way that's economically sustainable. He's reiterating basically everything Asha Sharma said in her recent interviews. Asha has been in the role for 100 days, and she said that in the coming days, she's going to take a fresh look and make sure we're delivering what our fans expect from us, both in terms of hardware and game publishing. And then they asked if he can give more details, because they talked about things being more expensive. And he says, we have to find a way to deliver games that's economically relevant for the player and for us. Right now, we have a problem. Unfortunately, because of what's happening with the cloud and the artificial intelligence, prices have gone up. This is happening with PCs, with mobiles. Xbox has been affected too. So the supply shortage of semiconductors and memory in particular is having a massive impact on consumer electronics. And he says this is something temporary. I think we'll get through it. It's not going to be permanent. What's permanent is asking ourselves, what is the model for Xbox in the future? And if you think about it, both PCs and consoles have their place, and there are people playing on mobile. So we have to bring it all together while staying true to what we've always done. So, I mean, it doesn't say anything earth-shattering or groundbreaking there, but basically consoles are here. They're going to stay investing in Xbox. They're going to try to find other ways to monetize it. And we don't know what that is. Could be terrible, could be good for some people, but things are going to be changing, and it's because of the insanely increase in components. And I think not having enough consoles out there to get people in the Game Pass also has had a big effect on this overall. But it should be a very interesting time here going forward, as Asha Sharma is going to try to take, she's going to be making changes, massive changes. In fact, we also have another big change here that was just recently announced yesterday that did hit Xbox, and this has to do with some big members at Xbox who are leaving. They are now leaving after recent hires, actually. In fact, Craig Duncan is stepping down as the boss of Rare, and this, I think he's only been in that role for about 2 years or so, and not even 2 years. So he replaced Alan Hartman in November 2024 and oversaw Halo Studios, The Coalition, Flight Sim, Turn 10, Playground Games, Rare, Obsidian, Ninja Theory, Compulsion Games, The Initiative, Double Fine, In Exile, Undead Labs, World Edge, and Xbox Game Studios Publishing. He actually got promoted from Rare to, the Xbox Game Studios head, and he is stepping down. Not shocked at all. Stuff's going to be happening in the next few weeks, and it's telling that he is the first one here that is stepping down. I would say they pushed him out because he's only been there for 18 months. I would say they pushed him out because there are many games in that list of studios that obviously were not successful, which means that there's going to be more hammers to fall within those studios. After that, he's the first to go. And I think that is the way it should be, to be completely honest, that the heads should be the first to go if they are not performing. If their division is not performing, it shouldn't be everybody under them, because they're the ones that are supposed to be leading that division in the right direction. And there just hasn't been enough, I guess, output from them for him to stay there. The other person who is now leaving is Xbox Game Studios Chief of Staff Louise O'Connor, leaving the company. O'Connor joined Rare in 1999, beginning as an animator on the cult favorite N64 game Conker's Bad Fur Day. In an email to staff, Duncan writes this: "When I stepped into the role of leading XGS 20 months ago, my purpose was to serve our studios, our teams, and the people making our games. Together, we set out to deliver high-quality games, strengthen the cultural fabric across our studios, and help shape the future of the business. I'm proud to say we delivered many flawless launches that drove business success for the company." Speaks about Louise O'Connor, saying, "Louise has been a thoughtful, creative, and trusted partner who has consistently championed the craft and supported our studios with clarity and care. I'm grateful for everything she's brought to XGS, and I'm sure she'll be successful whenever it comes next for her." So there you go. Two major heads are gone, and I would say this signals more to come down the line. They're starting with them, and then it will trickle out. It's not as shocking though, because they did warn us, which is, I would say, the good thing about that 100 days memo that was put out. It was pretty obvious that changes are going to be coming. And then hopefully after those changes, we'll start to see the results in a positive way for Xbox. But on the video there, guys, if you did enjoy this video, hit that thumbs up. If you're new here, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. We'll be right back.